We're all stupid. We're all going to die. During This Week with Stupid, we have Hong Kong security law, US government buying up global supply of COVID-19 drug, Republicans finally asking people to wear face masks, and Twitter engineering breaking me. At the end, I promise I will have something to cheer you up a little bit. So without further ado, this is a stupid and scary time. And not just because of the pandemic and people not following guidelines. Oh no. China has introduced a new national security law for Hong Kong.
Permanent and non-permanent residents of Hong Kong can now be imprisoned for up to life for crimes of succession, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign forces. To enforce the measures, a new security agency has been set up, which isn't under the jurisdiction of local government. It will be the first official presence of mainland security and intelligence agents, whose powers will go beyond local laws. It also allows for serious and complex cases to go to mainland courts.
The law came into effect at 2013 local time on 30th June, an hour before the 23rd anniversary of the city's handover to China from British rule. A perfect happy birthday gift from CCP. The details of the law's 66 articles, with over 7,000 words, were kept secret until after it was passed. It introduces new crime with severe penalties, up to life in prison, and allows mainland security personnel to legally operate in Hong Kong with impunity. The legislation gives Beijing extensive powers it has never had before to shape life in the territory far beyond the legal system. The four major offenses in the law, separatism, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign countries, are ambiguously worded and give the authorities extensive power to target activists who criticize the party. For example, Article 29 of this law states, anyone who conspires with foreigners to provoke hatred of the Chinese government or the authorities in Hong Kong could have committed a criminal offense. To understand the extent of that article, I have some videos criticizing CCP and remembering Tiananmen Square massacre. When I was in Hong Kong, I did speak to some local residents. According to this law, those people can be deemed as conspiring with foreigners and now at risk. On Wednesday, at a media briefing, Hong Kong's Justice Secretary Teresa Cheng was asked to define exactly what the provision means. She was unable to give a clear answer. Article 55 also contains vague language. It gives Chinese mainland security operatives the right to investigate some national security cases that are complex, serious, or difficult. As the NPC Observer team note, those words are highly subjective and malleable. Human rights organizations have pointed out how the law seems to undermine protections previously offered to the defendants. Trials can be held in secret and without a jury. Judges can be handpicked by Hong Kong's chief executive, who is answerable directly to Beijing. The law also reverses a presumption that suspects will be granted bail. The same provision also appeared to suggest there is no time limit on how long suspects can be held. It says only that the cases should be handled in a timely manner.
Article 38 of the new law also purports to apply to offenses committed outside of Hong Kong by non-residents of Hong Kong, and this likely includes Americans. This is outrageous and an affront to all nations.
Article 38 is most probably the scariest one for people outside China and Hong Kong. As it states, this law shall apply to offenses under this law committed against the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region from outside the region by a person who is not a permanent resident of the region. So this law not only applies to Hong Kong residents, but 80,000 Americans, 30,000 Brits, and, well, basically everyone on the planet and beyond, as we live outside the region. If we have ever spoken at a pro-Hong Kong rally, or have written an op-ed article, or video criticizing CCP, or pushed for sanctions against China, well then we would be in risk even when transferring flights in Hong Kong. George Washington University law professor Donald Clark wrote, Beijing is asserting extraterritorial jurisdiction over every person on the planet. Andrew Nathan, a politics professor at Columbia University, noted, "For overseas supporters of Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement may need to be cautious when traveling to other countries, and countries with extradition clauses with China should be avoided." Even though it's rare for a country to extradite on political grounds, experts worry that this new law may allow Beijing to do so. China claims at least 53 countries publicly supported this new law so far, including Russia, Vietnam, Iran, Serbia, Pakistan, and Venezuela. Among them, many have extradition clauses with China. In what initially appeared to be an early test of the law, a man was arrested on Wednesday after he unfurled a Hong Kong flag during demonstrations, and the police said on Twitter that he had been detained for violating the national security law. It was the first arrest made since the law has come into force, the police said. But a closer look at the banner appeared to show words that translated to "No to" in small letters and "Hong Kong independence" in bigger type. It was unclear if the police were unaware. This law is to punish a tiny number of criminals who seriously endanger national security, a sharp sword hanging high over their heads that will severe at a deterrent against external forces meddling in Hong Kong. Zhang Zuoming, a deputy director of the Central Chinese Government Office for Hong Kong, said at a news conference in Beijing on Wednesday, "Yes, sure." According to New York Times, a museum that commemorates the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre is rushing to digitize its archives, afraid its artifacts could be seized. Booksellers are nervously eyeing customers, worried they could be government spies. Writers have asked a news site to delete over 100 articles, anxious that old posts could be used against them. Hong Kong Library has removed many pro-democracy books written by various activists like Joshua Young. Hong Kong government has declared the protest slogan, "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times," is a pro-independent, secessionist, and subversive, and thus criminalized under the newly enacted national security law. Well, CCP, here, just for you. Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times. Arise ye who would not be slaves. Tiananmen Square massacre happened in 1989, and I have made a video remembering it. I also mocked and debunked your traditional Chinese medicine that you tried to push as a cure for coronavirus. All those videos are available in my channel. Can I get on your shit list, please? World Health Organization is now investigating the US government buying up global supply of COVID-19 drug Remdesivir for the next 3 months. Dr. Michael Ryan of WHO had the following to say.
There are many people around the world who are very sick with this disease, and we want to ensure that everybody has access to the necessary life-saving interventions. But as I said, we will reserve our commentary until we have verified the exact nature of the contracts. But also, we are also aware of other arrangements being put in place for sub-licensing and manufacturing in other countries. So let us look at the issues. Let us look at the implications of this. But certainly, yes, we can restate we are fully committed as an organisation and with our partners to equitable access to life-saving interventions.
More than 500,000 treatment courses for American hospitals has been secured.
We're in a much better place because of the availability of what's known as therapeutics or medicines to treat people that have contracted the coronavirus and are experiencing severe symptoms. Dr. Steve Hahn of the FDA is here, and he will speak about the progress that we are making, whether it be the availability of Remdesivir, which we're distributing another tranche this week.
Couple of additional things to note. Remdesivir does not help with the mortality rate of COVID-19, but has shown to reduce recovery rate by about 4 days. The importance of this story is that it shows the intentions of USA of using its economic and financial firepower to buy up drug supplies, that is worrying for other countries including UK. The Canadian government has warned that going along in a pandemic may backfire. We know it is in both of our interests to work collaboratively and cooperatively to keep our citizens safe, said Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister. Earlier, US tried to buy exclusive rights to COVID vaccine being developed by French firm Sanofi. The drug maker backtracked facing opposition from the French government. However, US coronavirus patients may not receive this drug unless they have enough cash. The drug manufacturer Gilead said in the developed world, this drug would cost $390 per vial and a total of $2,340 per patient. However, for US, each vial would cost $520 and total $3,120 per patient. Meanwhile, several studies estimate that actual cost of producing Remdesivir is $1 per vial. Like most drugs, Remdesivir was initially developed using taxpayers' money. A report released found that pharmaceutical companies have raised the price of 245 drugs since the first case of COVID-19 in US. So, is this what is to come? When we actually develop a vaccine, will the highest bidder get the entire supply? This shows us how broken the global healthcare setup is. The cures that the world needs the most are only available to the ones with the deepest pockets. We are all going to die.
Until we find a vaccine, these are really important. This is not as complicated as a ventilator. And this is a way to indicate that you want to protect others.
Part of our guidelines to open up America, again, encourage people to wear facial coverings where social distancing was not possible. So our administration is promoting the practice.
But like many other senators, when I'm walking the hallways or on the Senate floor, I'm wearing a mask. People wear masks because CDC has said, quote, simple cloth coverings slow the spread of the virus and help people who may have the virus and do not know it from transmitting it to others. Unfortunately, this simple life-saving practice has become part of the political debate that says this: if you're for Trump, you don't wear a mask. If you're against Trump, you do. The president has plenty of admirers. They would follow his lead. It would help end this political debate. The stakes are too high for this political debate about pro-Trump, anti-Trump masks to continue.
Representative Liz Cheney tweeted out a picture of her father, former Vice President Dick Cheney, wearing a mask with a hashtag Real Men Wear Mask. Senator Marco Rubio said everyone should just wear a damn mask. GOP Senator Tim Scott and Chuck Grassley also made social media posts, and even Steve Doocy from Fox and Friends said, I think that if the president wore one, it would set a good example. MAGA should now stands for Masks Are Great Again. Thank you guys for finally coming around. It's just several months too late. I hope this will help all those stupid people not wearing the mask. In case you think the world has suddenly become smart, well, not so fast. Alex Castellanos, a veteran Republican strategist, said the divide over whether to cover one's face is like many things in the Trump era political. Mask wearing has become a totem, a secular religious symbol. Alex said, Christians wear crosses, Muslims wear a hijab, and members of the Church of Secular Science bow to the gods of data by wearing a mask as their symbol, demonstrating that they are elite, smarter, more rational, and morally superior to everyone else. Hey, I am a member of the Church of Secular Science, and I do bow to the gods of data and science. So yes, we are smarter and more rational, and definitely morally superior to you, stupid guy. With all the serious stupidness, let's look at something stupid but not serious. Twitter engineering has broken my stupid meter, and being a programmer, this one is personally a bit more painful. Twitter engineers replacing racially loaded tech terms like master-slave. For Reginald Augustine, a black programmer at Twitter, The impetus for change arrived in an email last year with the phrase atomic slavery kick. The words were just part of an engineering discussion about restarting a secondary process. But they prompted Augustine to start trying to change Twitter's use of words with racist connotations. Augustine was used to seeing the term slave in technical context, but with re-kick, I was madder than I was ever thought I would be in the workplace, he said. First on his own and then joining forces with another engineer, Kevin Oliver, he helped spearhead an effort to replace terms like master, slave, whitelist, and blacklist with words that didn't harken back to oppressive parts of United States history and culture. He recounted his thoughts at the time. This has to stop. This isn't cool. We have to change this now. Hey Reginald, you are a moron. And I just hate the idea that we are peers. People like you makes me feel like doing anything except freaking coding, and I love coding. Thou shalt not have different classes, we are all one, said the stupid coder. Some of us raised our hands and asked, well, how about object-oriented programming? It's all about classes and inheritance. Oh, easy, replied the moron known as Reginald. You code like the way I do, as if it was basic from 1970s. No concept of subroutine, as obviously it makes part of the code technically more important and demanding. No separation of concerns, as it creates diversion. This got me thinking. I looked around my room and found something truly offensive. This thing should make all our blood boil. I'm talking about my laser printer. Think about it. It prints with black on white. It basically is saying that black people need white people to let their voices heard. It's portraying the white savior, and that only because of the white paper that I physically hold that this thing is possible. How did we let this slide all this time? I have a proposal. Depending on our skin color, we should either print white on white, or black on black, or yellow on yellow. Now, if you do follow my amazing idea, after the first print, you would realize that you don't even need to print it out. I just saved you a bunch of money. You never had a friend like me. If this happened in my company, I would can that guy. Just because he has way too much free time, meaning whatever position he is working at is not necessary. Enough said. In these videos, we have seen chart for coronavirus deaths in UK. Thankfully, the chart is now showing a steady decline. However, Leicester is still under lockdown since Monday, following a spike in COVID-19 cases. Bradford is trailing behind. Be sensible, people. After all that stupidity, to cheer you up, this week my recommendation is an old comedy band, Axis of Awesome, 4-chord song. This is a sketch from the 2009 Melbourne International Comedy Festival. If you haven't seen it before, you will love it. And if you have seen it before, you know how funny it is. Well, that's all for this week with Stupid. Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you have liked this content and want to show your support, liking the video would be a great start. And maybe subscribe as well, as during this genesis of the channel, it is really vital. So please, if you disliked it, thumbs down, and please let me know why. And please subscribe as well. It will give you notifications on new videos that you can disagree on. You will find similar contents in my other videos. Stay safe, signing off.